Welcome, listeners, to the Gamer Headlines Show, Gamer Headlines' weekly entertainment podcast. This is episode 41. I am one of your co-hosts, Adnan Riaz. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, 24601, Chris Cortez.
I dreamed a dream that Adnan would say my name again the right way. He did it and I'm happy. Okay, that's it.
I look forward to the copyright strike.
Oh, fuck, no. Don't worry, No, because I did different lyrics, so it's okay. It's a parody. It's okay if you do a parody. That's fine.
Well, I'll let you handle the email side of that. Can you explain it to them?
It's a parody. You see, Anne Hathaway didn't sing about that. She sang
Regards,
about bad
24601.
She sang about... yeah, that's what I write. In regards to 24601. Anyway, welcome guys we're off to a cookie start. Before we continue, this is a monumental episode for Adnan and I, because officially, with this being our 41st episode, the Gamer Headlines Show is the longest podcast that I have been on, and it's actually the longest podcast that Adnan and I have co-hosted together. So, round of applause, Matt Damon. It's dude,
fucking Damon.
It's epic, man. I can't believe we reached this. We've been pretty, I think, what is it you told me once? We've only missed 1 week, and that was when I went on my honeymoon. And aside from that, we've done every week we've released a thing. So it's been 42 weeks of hosting shows then. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's nutso, man. But anyway, dude. All right. Well, we wanted to share that with you guys, but we'll go ahead and jump into the usual spiel. Dude, Adnan, man, talk nerdy to me. What's been going on since last podcast?
Yes. So, Life is Strange, episode 4 hit.
La Vita es Strange. That's
yeah,
I don't know anything else.
Yeah. So, La Vita Strange hit PS4 yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yesterday. So it was released yesterday on Tuesday, July 28th, and that's very different when you hear the recording. But yeah, so finally, I think it sort of missed its 8-week release window. Mm-hmm. It did come out very much later than expected for them, but they did hit it before July. So fourth episode, penultimate episode, like. Honestly, like, when I finished this episode, I was like, I can't believe people fucking spend money on Telltale garbage, and then this game is getting panned by critics. By some critics who are deluded, might I mention, because a lot of their criticisms are ridiculous. This is without a doubt now, I'm going to put this down, this is the best 4th episode I've ever played in any episodic game to date. This trounces over everything Telltale has ever done. I'm not even saying that in a kind of like a biased way or anything else. This is like the definitive of how to set up episode 5, because it comes off in a great way, because it already had like a great cliffhanger in episode 3, and from there, just the way it kind of like the story does have like little kind of inconsistencies, and like it does slow down at certain points, but like just how it flows all the way to the end. And then it hits at like another massive cliffhanger. I'm like, oh my fucking god, like another 8 weeks now before the next episode comes. It just hits on a great note. I'm like,
so good pacing, right?
Well, the pacing's a little bit off at certain points, but like, do you know how we kind of complained about in the spoiler cast of Game of Thrones, where it felt it went so fast and we didn't really have time for it? The difference is with like Life is Strange is that you have so much time just to walk and interact with stuff. There's like one scene when you go back to Blackwell Academy, and like there's so many characters. I was there for like 35 minutes just wandering and just like talking to all the characters and getting the different options and stuff. And it just felt so satisfying. I mean, like, some of the I think like one of the greatest things about Don't Know is that the writing has just improved tenfold. It is still kind of like jittery here and there, kind of like a little bit B-rated almost.
That's
but like when
no, sorry, go ahead.
No, but when it hits its stride now, like it's just like, do you know how Game of Thrones has episode 4 had that big decision at the end? They give you the first decision in Life is Strange episode 4 is at the beginning of the game. It's a huge choice to make, like absolutely huge, and the theme that it actually touches on as well is absolutely kind of like. I've never seen it that much played in a game. Like
so,
this game.
That's interesting because sorry to interrupt. That's interesting though, because so that's like almost what the opposite of what the last Game of Thrones episode we played did to make, a comparison, because in the last one there's a big decision at the very end of the episode, and now we're going to see how that affects in the next episode. But here, you're saying it begins with a big decision, and the rest of the episode is kind of like that consequence.
Yeah, it's a gut punching in a better way.
Cool.
But like when I was playing it and I watched, I was like, it's going to lead up to it, and then when they start talking, I was like, oh my god, the heart sank. It's I can't really speak about it because I don't want to spoil this game for anyone, because I really do want everyone to go and play it. But I feel like just if you play it, you just kind of sit there, like your heart just sinks, and the way they kind of like do it, the shots and how it ends as well, like how it takes its time for it finally is kind of like, set in stone, is really great. But like there's so many big choices throughout the entire thing. Like kind of now over the course of the actual episode, I'm seeing choices come back and hit me now. Mm-hmm. Just like when Chloe says something like, she's like, "Oh yeah, you protected my dickhead stepdad," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like there's meaning behind everything. Like I've never played an episodic game to the point where I feel like decisions are one of the hardest things to do, because that rewind mechanic just like it's so hard, because when you can see both scenarios, yet you don't know what the actual complete outcome's going to be. Mm-hmm. It makes it even more difficult. It's just so great, because I was like rewinding things. I was like, should I tell this character this? Should I tell him this? And honestly, it's a very, very, very dark episode. No pun intended. It's named Dark Room, but the themes are could easily kind of be disturbing. Because like I think one of the things we don't know is like one of the I absolutely love since the beginning is that they have balls to attach themes to this game. Mm-hmm. They've touched on drugs, touched on bullying, on social media, on just like other themes. I'm not going to mention a few others because they're quite spoilery. But they have like been touching on themes that introduce new themes, and just like there's something so satisfying watching the story. Like the story hits its high point in this episode. And then even like when I watched the credits roll, I was still in a little bit of shock. I watched the preview for the next episode, like 20-second preview. I was like, oh shit, which is like unbelievable. I mean, like one of the big things was the ending of this episode. Oh my god.
That's dude. It's like every time a new episode comes out, and for the record to those listening, I'm not. I haven't played this game yet. I've just heard things from Adnan. Adnan's been playing, I think, every episode. He has the subscription to the first season, and man, every time you like talk to me about like a new episode, you always tell me, like, man, they talk about stuff. Like, you always bring up something, and I'm like, man, they never really... Like, that's a subject matter I've never heard talked about in a video game before. And, like, that's something that I... Like, you tell me that each episode kind of, like, brings to the forefront every time they release one.
Yeah, they just have such... honestly, some of the critics that I've read and, like, the critiques of this episode have been laughable. Like, I've seen sites give it 6, and they've given Game of Thrones episode 5 9s and stuff. I'm like, that is laughable. I mean, there are little problems with Life is Strange. I gave the new episode 4.5 out of 5 in a different website, because I do a lot of freelancing anyway. But like, there were just a few things I kind of withdrew. Like, I've never rated a game 5 out of 5. That's a fun fact. If you want to know. I've been writing reviews for 3 years. I've never rated a game 5 out of 5.
Someone's staring at a Wikipedia page, and they're going to put in like the trivia of Adnan. Did you know he's never done that?
No, but I mean, like, just playing this episode is like the most satisfying thing. I have like one of my favorite things is like the fact that this game has surpassed 1 million sales. I'm glad that it's been a really big critical success. It has a huge following. Mm-hmm. They do deserve their praises. I think they're very bold and innovative and, challenging the medium in different ways I haven't seen in a long time. Like, that episodic kind of fad was dying out on me. I only took interest in this game, like, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before release, when they released a developer diary. But when this did it, and they talked about the game and, like, how the rewind mechanic works, I was like, you have my attention now. Like, that is, like, that's, I'm going to say in a very obnoxious way, but it's hard to get that normally from a developer, because you have to like really sell it to me. But when they were speaking about it and doing stuff, I was like, oh, it's very interesting. And they've always kind of like, just the story, it's never been a cliche. It's always been changing. It's always been like, I've just had that thing, like, going back to this again, is that every decision I have is meaningful. I feel like it has an importance. Like episode 4 and 5 Game of Thrones, I was just been wading through. So I'm just like, it's gonna go back to point A. Like, I can go from point A to point B to point C, and it's gonna go back to point A. Like, that's what the decisions do. They just go in it. It's a circle, literally. You start at one point. The circle never breaks. It's always one repeat kind of case. Maybe it's a bit different with that one big decision they finally introduced after 5 episodes in Game of Thrones. But, like, don't nod. Like, I think, like, one of the funny parts is, do you remember I told you there's a spoiler at the end of episode 2? Right. It's a big ending change. I got a scene in this episode because I made the right in quotations, right decision in this episode, and people who didn't make that decision didn't get the scene.
Interesting.
That's a fun, because I went back and played because I was like, this is very interesting to see. It's short, brief, and it's very sweet. It just gets to the point. Like, it's not like, obnoxiously filler. It works very well for what it's doing, and I thought that as well, because when I went back and played it on another save file, I didn't get that scene. I was like, well, there you go. There's an example of where, like, choice has meaning behind it. One of the only things I had a problem with as well in terms of the story was that there's just not enough focus on another part of the story, which is the tornado that Max is seeing in a vision. But you know what? I think, like, one of the great parts about them is that they don't really explain how Max gets the power of, like, rewinding time.
Right.
And I love that, because there's no reason to explain it, because it's not like, it's not really necessarily a central core theme that everyone needs to know. It's like, I've always said, like, before Thomas Harris wrote Hannibal Rising, the entire point about Hannibal eating people was, like, the most scary thing possible.
Oh, yeah, it's Hannibal, scary or not knowing, and just letting your imagination fill in the blanks. Because
he's such a, like, he's such a great character for what he is. And, like, he's the most he's a psychopath, but, like, a meticulous psychopath, and, like, intelligent psychopath, better way to put it. And, like, it's that kind of thing that he probably wants you to think, like, what made him a cannibal. And you probably will never be able to get the answer, but then they kind of ruined it with that. But I feel like this kind of doesn't really need a backstory behind that, because it's just kind of more interesting of why she has rewind. It's like during The Last of Us, where I've said this a million times, like, spoiler obviously if you haven't played Last of Us, but like, I don't need an ending to that. Like, I don't need a continuation to that story. That story ends on the most perfect note possible.
Oh yeah.
Like, That was the point where I was like, you know what, this game has escalated to being like a fantastic game for me in storytelling, because they just got it. Because when you play games, you watch films, you just need that kind of moment, where it's like there's sort of this ambiguous message and, like, ambiguous ending. It's just like when her face kind of, like, tell me if you're, tell me that, like, this is not the reason. He's like, no, it's not. And then she obviously knows he's lying. It just kind of ends.
And it's almost like she wants to accept the lie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's open to interpretation. It's like that. Yeah. Does she want truth? Does she want to accept the lie? What's the future?
Yeah, and then watch part 2 open that she runs away from Joel, and she's like, "Oh, like ruin the ending, like, straight from the get go." But cool, man. Damn nice. I'm glad that you're enjoying Life is Strange, and hopefully one day in the future I'll be able to get a crack at it and go back, and we could maybe do a spoiler cast or something. A retro cast, I don't know. Something like that. Well, for me, since last podcast, I have been blessed by the internet gods. Summer Games Done Quick 2015 has started. And for those of you who are unaware of what that is, it's this charity. It's a speedrunning community. It's called Awesome Games Done Quick, and in the summer they call themselves Summer Games Done Quick. And it's an event that for an entire week, from Sunday to Saturday, twice a year. They do it in January and then halfway through the year in July. They hold this week-long event where a lot of really popular live streamers who are speedrunners get together and they start speedrunning video games that came out this year, games that came out like years ago, like classic epic ones, like anything from like Super Mario Brothers to like anything that came out this year or something like that, like Halo 3 that came out a few years ago. Like they have everything in the middle as well, So it's pretty comprehensive, and it's really cool to see. And a lot of the speedruns revolve around like glitches or like all sorts of stuff. And I'm having a blast watching it. I mean, this is always something that I really enjoy getting, really deeply into. Oh God, there's this one run. It was, they also do races at times. and they had this one race of who could beat I think it was Mega Man X2 or X3 in the fastest, and it was like a 4-man race, and it was so exciting. Like, I'm not even a huge Mega Man player, I actually quite suck at it, but it was just so fascinating to watch these people like kick ass and go through. And all the money they're raising, I think, oh gosh, the last time I saw it, I think they're at $350,000 they've raised so far since Sunday, which is pretty epic. And all of the money is going to Doctors Without Borders, or Adnan would probably like this, Medicine Sun Frontiers, just MSF.
MSF, yeah.
But that's actually, it's the real MSF. But they're donating all the money to that, and it's an international organization to send doctors and aid to like 70 countries where people have none of that and things like that. So it's a really beautiful cause, and if you guys like games and if you guys like seeing awesome runs, and it's a great community. The chat is hilarious. I mean, they can be assholes at times as well, but they're really funny, and it's just a really cool event to see. Like, all week. It's been on in the background, like while I'm working. It's been on in the background, like when I'm eating dinner. I've been watching it like since Sunday, so it's pretty cool. And you gotta appreciate it because they're not gonna have another one until January. And also, I almost forgot to mention this, they also have raffles. So if you donate money during specific blocks of times, you're entered into a raffle to win whatever giveaway they're giving out. And actually they have like big giveaways like that what is it? I think for $30 you can get a PS4 possibly, like in a raffle, and for $50 you get an Alienware computer, and I think for $20 it's Majora's Mask 3DS, the new 3DS, like the new 3DS Majora's Mask like system. So it's really neat. It's a fun time, and I've enjoyed a lot of the streams so far.
Nice. I love speedrunning just for how ludicrous it is.
Yes.
As a concept, especially when you break games.
Yes.
Kind of like, I think my favorite one was, do you know when they did the God of War speed run?
Oh, yeah, same company, and they did it on Sony's site. It was Awesome Games and Quick.
Yeah, and Sony Santa Monica were just sitting there, and I swear the developers must be saying, like, this fucker is breaking our game. And like, they must be like, oh, like, fuck me. Obviously, because that's the entire point about speedrunner, isn't it? Right, you break the game. That's why you can complete some games in like 20 minutes because of how fast things. But it is really fast. I think one of my favorite was when I was watching the MGS one. I think someone completes it in an hour and a half, and I'm like just kind of stroking my beard, like.
There's even one thing I want. Like, I remember that stream; it was fucking awesome. And there's this one thing that this dude did that I'm like, I want to learn how to do it, and I can't do it. It's where he basically bypasses most of the game. Up until the torture sequence, and to do it you have to like go through a wall, and it's like right before you go up the ladder to like meet the DARPA chief, there's a vent, and if you crawl in the vent and if you stand up at a specific angle, Snake goes through the wall, and then you can backtrack and go through the locked door where Ocelot holds you, and it just cuts to you being tortured, and you bypass the whole game.
I used to remember that on my Exploder, where I could get a level 6 card at the beginning of the game, just walk in there, and it like loads up the torture sequence.
I did the same thing with Game Shark. I used to like basically hack the game, and it was so much fun, man. Like, I miss those things, like those little like developer hack things. I think it got harder as it went along because of the technology and shit. Like PS4 would be like, fuck you. But it's a great run, dude. They're gonna have the schedule's down right now, so I can't see exactly when it is. I think like the website crashed right now. But the schedule said something like I think on Saturday they're gonna have a Ocarina of Time speed run, and I think the dude is gonna beat it. It's a glitched run, and it's gonna be done in 20 minutes. So I love that. Like, I've seen those in the past before, and they're so exciting. Like, you fight the final Ganon as Kid Link because you bypass being an adult. So it's like super epic. It's really cool. So yeah. But if you guys, by the time we upload this episode, there's only like a handful of days left, but highly recommend you guys check it out. They do it twice a year. It's always every January and usually in the summer in July. So yeah, be sure to check that out, guys. It's really cool stuff.